taking a peek at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Chevrolet Blazer EV. So I'm going to dive in and show you everything you need to know. First thing to point out is that you might have noticed I didn't actually hit anything in order to start the vehicle up. So once you hop inside, you just hit the brake and then that's going to start the vehicle up. Now here's the thing, if you open the door up, technically the vehicle is going to turn off. But inside of the infotainment system, there's also a button that you can push in order to keep the vehicle on. And that's going to give you the option of keeping the vehicle on for up to 60 minutes. Big benefit there is that if you open the driver's side door, the vehicle is not going to turn off. And that's something that typically would happen if you didn't have that setting enabled, where you have the vehicle kept on. You can also toggle the vehicle off there as well. And there are some other controls that I'm going to point out in just a little bit. But I'm going to show you everything else that you need to know. The steering wheel inside the vehicle is going to be manual telescoping. So just in between your legs there, there's a release. And you can go in, out, up and down to find that perfect position for you. Once you find it, click it, lock it back into place. You do also have the option for seat memory along with the side view mirror memory. And that's all done right along the side. So if you've got it available in your vehicle, once you get the driver's seat set up the way that you'd like, you're just going to hit set and then either 1 or 2. And then you can also set your side view mirrors the way that you'd like as well. So same idea, you're going to set up your side view mirrors the way that you'd like, so adjust them as necessary. Once that's done for both sides, you're just going to hit set and then the bottom button in order to have it remember your side view mirrors as well. And then obviously a big benefit there is that if you've got multiple people driving the vehicle, you can have it remember and reset back to your perfect position for you. The steering wheel inside the vehicle, I gotta say, is comfortable, and there are so many buttons, so many levers, things that you need to know. So the stick on the left-hand side is going to be for your blinkers, and then you can also flash out your high beams. I'm currently in the auto light mode, which means that I can't permanently lock the high beams out. In order to do that, inside of the infotainment system, there's a button that you're gonna push, and that's going to pull up the option for either off, auto, and then there's some other light options. You have to go to the bottom light option. You can then push away in order to lock out your high beams, pull in towards you in order to turn those high beams off. And then I honestly just recommend for the most part to be in the auto mode instead. So what the auto mode means is specifically for high beams. When the vehicle needs it, it's going to turn them on automatically. If there's a car oncoming, it's going to automatically dim it before bringing it right back up again. So it's a very smart system from that perspective. But you always have the option of flashing your high beams out. You've also got a few other options here. So you can adjust your front wipers this way. You can adjust your rear wipers this way. In order to get your rear wiper fluid going, you're either at the very top going to go up or all the way down and push down to get that rear wiper fluid going. To get the front wiper fluid going, there's a button on the tip of the left stick. You're just going to push that in order to get the wiper fluid going. The right-hand side is going to be for your shifter. So if you're hitting the brake there, you can pull in towards you to drop into neutral. You can shift up to go to reverse, all the way down to go into drive. And then the parking button is on the tip of that right stick. And then you can see there, let's go back into reverse for a second. You can see a few different options for the camera. So you've got your standard view, there's overhead, a side view, and a hitch view. Big benefit of that hitch view is if you're lining up for a trailer, very useful. And then park, straightforward. I like it. And then from here, you've also got a few other things. So in behind the steering wheel, there are some buttons along the left-hand side, and then there are buttons along the right-hand side. The ones along the left-hand side are going to let you change between your available presets, so whatever stations that you've set up, versus the one on the right side is going to be your volume adjusting button instead. So you can easily adjust volume this way. So very straightforward there. If you want to know how to set up presets and use the infotainment system though, you'll find a walkthrough down in the description of this video. Then there are a series of different buttons available. So on the left side is going to be for your either regular cruise, adaptive cruise, or if you've got it available, the super cruise feature. So this one strictly has the regular adaptive cruise control system. If you have the adaptive cruise control turned on, then you push and hold this X button or the cancel button, that's going to flip you out into a regular cruise control instead. So regular cruise is exactly that. If you've got it set at 100, it's just going to keep you at 100. If the car in front of you slows down, nothing's going to happen. But with the adaptive cruise control system enabled, if the vehicle in front of you slows down, yours is automatically going to brake. If they change lanes, pick up speed, whatever the case may be, it's going to pick you back up to your previously set speed. So I do recommend the adaptive cruise control for most people. Especially like highway driving, it's very useful. Then there'd be the option for Super Cruise, which is full hands-free driving. I was recently in the GMC Acadia that had the Super Cruise function, but if you want to know how to actually use Super Cruise, check down in the description of the video for a walkthrough. But if you want to walk through on the adaptive cruise control and really understanding the gauges inside of the cluster of the Blazer EV, you'll find that down in the description. But again, in a nutshell, so you can toggle your cruise control system on or off, you can cancel your speed this way, you can hit the brake, and then once you get up to the speed that you'd like, you're going to push down in order to set your speed, and then you can increase or decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time, or you can push and hold up or push and hold down to go to the nearest 5 or 0. So if you're at 47 kilometers an hour, push and hold up, it'll bring you to 50, then 55, 60, etc. And then down will do the opposite. Then there's also a gap adjustment. So it's how close or far are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you. I want you to think of that almost like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi type of a rule. I find for the most part, I'm okay with being in level 1 on residential streets and then either 1 or 2 on the highway, but that's just going to be a personal matter of preference. On top of that, you've got a series of different buttons along this side, and that's going to let us adjust some things inside of the cluster. But before I get there, there's one other button. So the left paddle here is very interesting. So at first I was like, what does this thing do? But when you're driving, if you want to slow down, you can hit the brake, but you can also push and hold this lever here. And what this toggle is going to do is it's going to essentially act as a regenerative braking option. So you do have one pedal drive available, so you can button push in order to turn on the one pedal drive. So if you take your foot off the accelerator, you slow down very, very rapidly. But without the one pedal drive system on, you push and hold that paddle along the left-hand side, and that slows you down pretty rapidly. Not as fast as one pedal, but it allows you to maximize the regenerative braking capabilities inside the vehicle. It's a pretty cool system. Then there are a series of different buttons down by your left knee. So there's the option for your parking brake, so you can easily toggle that on off. There's a lane keeping system. There's also the auto hold setting. So auto hold's an interesting one because if you come down to a complete stop, take your foot off the brake, the car's not moving. And then you can also toggle on the auto hold using the paddle along the left-hand side as well. So you come down to a complete stop, either using the brake or this paddle. And then once you come to a stop, you'll notice that there's an auto hold message inside of the cluster screen. It's kind of cool. And then you can also increase or decrease the brightness of the cluster screen using a little rocker switch down by your left knee. Then this. Tons of different options here. So you can toggle on the heated steering wheel by doing a button push there. There's also a voice command prompt. So you'll be able to do things like change songs, radio stations. You can navigate using your voice. You can adjust the climate with your voice. You can turn on the heated ventilated seats using your voice and so many things. So one thing that I recommend when you first get your vehicle, hop inside, play around with this a little bit, because being able to do things like 97.7 FM.
Okay. Streaming 97.7 FM.
So being able to use your voice in order to change stations and adjust climate and things like that is very, very useful. There's also a button here, and that's going to let you change between all of your different audio sources. So you can go up and down this way in order to change between all of your available sources. You can also push this one in order to essentially say OK. So it acts as an OK button there. So we're going up and down between AM, FM, Sirius XM, pushing in this way, and then again using the buttons behind the left side of the steering wheel in order to change out your different presets. Then you've got your volume up and down this way. You can also answer or hang up on a phone call. So if you had a phone connected, you could push up to answer, down in order to hang up the phone call there. And then there's this button. And this one is going to let you change out the look of the cluster screen. And there are so many. Look at this. Full mapping cluster. Looks so good. And then just a series of different looks. So it's going to come down to a matter of personal preference. What do you like the look of? I love that there are so many options that are available inside of this ride. So you've obviously got your basic simplified view there. From here, you've kind of got this interesting split view, and this is going to be when you have adaptive cruise control and things like that turned on. The vehicle, when it recognizes the lane markings, that's going to go green. If there's a car in front of you, you'll notice it up there as well. But they all function the same way. It's just going to come down to a matter of preference. What do you like the look of? So if we go under the assumption that we're going to have this view as the default, let me hop up there. I'm going to show you everything that you need to know about the messages and things like that. So you've got your, obviously, your speedometer there. So you've got your digital speed. And then from there, you've also got your battery level along the very bottom. So I'm currently at around 95-ish% there. along the very bottom side, you can also see the total range that you're going to get inside the vehicle, and that's the range with the current battery level. Whether or not your parking brake is enabled, again, just done by your left knee in order to turn it on off. The vehicle is ready, so good to drive. You've got your total odometer along the very bottom. Seatbelts, whether or not people are plugged in there. What gear you're currently in, so park, reverse, neutral, drive, etc. You've also got some different battery levels there as well. But before I get there, you've also got your current road speed, direction you're facing, if that lane centering system is turned on or off, so that lane keep system, and then whether or not adaptive cruise control is turned on or off as well. There's the outside temperature along the top right-hand side. And then these gauges are interesting. So as you go to drive, you'll notice this gauge go up. I want you to think of it like a traditional tachometer. So the more power that you use, you'll notice this number goes up. And then especially if you floor it, you hammer it, you're going to notice it go up, pop up quite a little bit. And then the one on the bottom here is for regenerative braking. So as you're driving, you take your foot off the brake, you'll notice that this gauge goes green instead. If you've got the one pedal drive engaged, when you go to brake, you'll notice that that goes green and it drops down quite a little bit. If you heavy brake, same idea. If you use the left paddle, same idea. It's going to drop down quite a little bit. So it's essentially letting you know that it's trying to maximize the amount of regenerative braking capability. And then you've got your basic trip information there as well. And the counter there is actually kind of interesting because inside of the infotainment system, you go to the home screen, you've got options for vehicle status. And then with vehicle status here, you've got things like tire pressure, which you can add to the display. So if you want your tire pressure there instead, and then it just defaults to a clock instead, you can have your energy information. So do you want your energy usage or efficiency showing up? And again, same idea. You can add that to your display if you want to. Trip counter. If you want to have that, you can reset your trip counter there. So trip 1 versus trip 2. You can also add it into the driver display. Then there are a ton of other options available here as well, with the big one being, look at that. Oh yeah, you can see that. A little head-up display inside the vehicle. So it's kind of going wonky right now. It definitely does not look like that in person. It's just the difference in the frame rate here. And then one nice thing is that even with polarized glasses, you can still see the head-up display. So I love that that's available inside the vehicle. So you've got your current vehicle speed, road speed, and then if the adaptive cruise control system was toggled on, yay or nay. And then if we look for, let's see, nice and Canadian of me, let's look for Tim Hortons, and I'll show you why in just a second. And let's start. There we go. So you can see there, turn-by-turn directions are showing up right inside of the head-up display there. And then through the infotainment system, you also have the option of customizing the head-up display a tiny little bit. So if you go back to your home screen there, so many options. You're going to go to your controls. You've got the option for your head-up display where you can adjust the brightness. I always just recommend keeping it at maximum brightness. You can also adjust the height of the head-up display. And then from there, you can also adjust the rotation. So again, if you want to really customize this, make it your own, move it up and down, rotate it so that it's easier for you to see. You can toggle the head-up display on or off there on top of that. And then a series of other options available here, specifically for controls. So you've got your head-up display, toggling the dome light, camera, your auto high beams. So again, that's the one where if you're in the auto mode, high beams are automatically going to come on, and then they're going to dim as well. And that's just if there's an oncoming vehicle. And then there are a series of additional controls, doors and windows. You can customize the lights and things like that as well. So many options. Drive and park. One pedal driving is available there. There's blind zone assist. And then the other one is park assist as well. So like I said, there are a lot of different options that are available inside the vehicle. But if you want a full walkthrough, you'll find it down in the description. I know that is a lot of information, but that's everything that you need to know about the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Chevrolet Blazer EV.